Hi, everybody. Welcome to Module 1 of Office Management. This is BMGT 1325. In case you missed the introductory video, I am Leah Morales, and I'm going to be your instructor for this course. And this course is all about learning how to be a good office professional. And in this first module, we're going to talk about the role of the office professional. Specifically, we're going to really focus on administrative assistants, what they do, how the role has evolved over time, and what it takes to really be successful in this career, okay? So let's start out with really some of the basic things, some definitions. An administrative assistant is a professional who provides support within an office or business environment. You might also hear them called things like executive assistants or office managers. And these titles often sort of reflect different levels of responsibility. For example, an executive assistant typically is going to support high-level leadership, like here at Panola College, the assistant to the president is called an executive assistant. An administrative assistant may support a team or a department, like our deans have administrative assistants that help them with their day-to-day work in their offices. No matter the title, these professionals are really often called the backbone of an organization. I know sometimes we might think this is a lesser position, but these people really help to hold everything together, because when they do their job well, they keep things running smoothly. And that's a lot of what this course is going to be about, is help you understand how to keep an office running smoothly. Some of the key responsibilities that you generally see in these positions include managing communication, like emails and phone calls, scheduling meetings, scheduling appointments. They prepare a lot of documents. They prepare a lot of reports, files. They organize files and records. They keep things put in digital places and maybe physical places where whoever needs them can find them. These positions often coordinate travel and meetings. And depending on the type of business, they provide customer service. They really do handle a lot of the day-to-day operations so that management and others can focus more on big picture responsibilities. Now, this type of role has really changed over time. Originally, you think back, what you would think is an administrative professional, they were basically called secretaries or typists, because most of their duties focused on typing. Back in the day when someone would speak to you a letter, you'd record it and you would type it out. That was an important part of the job that's really not relevant anymore. They did lots of filing. But as technology grew, this type of role began to change. In the 70s and 80s, some of you do not remember that. I remember the 80s pretty well. Computers and word processors made things work faster, and they made offices more efficient. And then by the early 90s and early 2000s, for sure, the role expanded to include lots of project coordination and deeper office management. And today, administrative professionals are expected to have strong communication skills and to be able to work in really collaborative environments. They really have gone from sort of a side character to an important part of the team. And now this role is shifting even further, because administrative professionals are seen as strategic partners who support decision-making, help manage workflows, and serve as a bridge between departments and leadership. And that can be really important. I know I've just moved recently to the position I'm in, which is the assistant to the vice president of instruction. Certainly when she was the dean of career and technical, and I was her assistant then as well, I was a go-between between her and faculty. I would help keep that communication flowing smoothly and make sure that they got what they needed from her and vice versa. So that is a very important part of what you will do as an assistant. It really is a critical business role. So we're going to look at in this course what it takes to be successful in this field. And there are several key skills that you're going to need to develop. And the first one is very good communication skills. You have to be able to speak clearly and professionally, okay? We all talk wrong, you know what I mean? And it's East Texas, and we have our slang, and that's fine. But in your role, you need to know how to speak clearly and professionally. You need to know how to write emails and documents that have a clear and professional tone. You need to know how to listen carefully and follow instructions. And that one can get tricky because there's often a lot going on in an office, and people may be barking things at you from all sides. You need to make sure you get down what it is you need to be doing. This type of role really requires very strong organizational skills. I will tell you, sometimes even stronger organizational skills than management, because you really have to kind of hold everybody's stuff together. You have to have good time management. You have to be able to prioritize. You have to be able to sort of instantly know what needs to be done first, what can wait, what can be delegated. We're going to have a whole lesson on that. You have to be good at keeping files and workspaces organized, because if you're out a day, you need people to be able to move on and find what they need. You need to make sure that everything is accessible to the people it needs to be accessible to. You have to have technology skills. You don't have to be able to fix a computer, but you need to be comfortable with things like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. We don't go into those softwares and formats here in this course, but at Panola, we do offer those courses, and they're very important. This is not a role where you can say, well, I haven't kept up with that. You have to keep up with that. No matter how long you stay in the field, as technology updates and changes, you have to move with it. I use JotForm every day. When I first started doing this type of work, JotForm was not a thing. You just have to learn the new things and jump on them as they come out. You have to understand how to use scheduling tools and calendars. You will probably be putting things on your supervisor's calendar directly and sharing that out with people. So you just need to be aware that you're going to have to keep up with the technology trends as they come out if you go into this type of work. You need to have good problem solving skills, because sometimes we have those days, I call them our little fires everywhere days, where it's just little problem, little problem, little problem, big problem, little problem. It's constant. And it's not that it's just the nature of the world. It's not that things aren't going well or that people aren't doing their jobs. There's just going to be little issues that come up all the time. And that's part of the job. And you need to be able to think critically, find solutions quickly, handle things with grace and kindness if someone has actually messed something up. And you need to be able to work independently when needed, because there are days in this office when VP Natalie Oswalt is my direct supervisor. She may be pulled in so many directions, I don't see her at all. And I don't need to just sit here staring at the wall of the computer. I need to know what needs to be done and be able to work independently without her over my shoulder telling me what to do. In this type of role, it is extremely important that you have good interpersonal skills. You really, really need to know how to work well with all different kinds of people. You need to be able to interact with people. You need to know how to be likable. And I'm not trying to reduce things or say, you have to be nice to everybody or be a people pleaser. But this is a type of position where you really need to have good people skills and know how to get along with people. You need to understand how much teamwork matters, and you need to be a collaborative part of the team. And you need to be able to handle conflict appropriately. You're not going to like everybody you work with. And sometimes people are going to do some things that really irritate you and really cause your day to go in a direction you didn't know it was going to go in. But you have to be able to handle that well and professionally. That is an extremely important part. Probably really one of the most important parts of this type of work is that you have really good people skills. You need to be adaptable. Offices are constantly changing. You have to be flexible and open to change and willing to take on new tasks. I have a list on my I call it my brain board. It's a little tiny glass whiteboard, and I write every day before I leave what I need to do the next day. I have to know that I may come in and that may all change, and that needs to be okay. You have to be a person that pays attention to detail, because small mistakes can lead to big, big problems in an office. You have to be accurate when you're scheduling. You can't schedule the meeting in the wrong place or at the wrong time, or you'll have people who don't know where they're supposed to be when. You have to be accurate in data entry, because if you don't see it right now, it's going to cause problems down the road. You have to be accurate when creating documents. It's extremely important that you be a small, detail-oriented person if you enter this type of work. You have to be able to maintain confidentiality, and you have to be able to maintain a good ethical way of moving through the world and in the office. I hear and see things often that are not really meant even for my eyes, and they're certainly not meant for others. It's just the nature sometimes of an office. You're going to be exposed to people's personal information. You're going to hear things about what an employee did as supervisors are discussing it that really is not for you, but you're just in the vicinity, and you're going to need to know how to hold all that in yourself and not share. You're going to know how to make ethical decisions and be transparent and Be willing to speak up when you see something that is going wrong, because in every type of business, integrity matters so much. So you have to be that kind of person to be an administrative assistant and a good office professional. You have to be proactive. That's very important. Sometimes we get into fall into a way of being where we're just reactive. Something happens and we come back. Something happens and we come back. That will bog down an office quickly. Good office managers are able to sort of see the future and know what could go wrong here, what needs to happen, what's coming up next. You need to take initiative, and it's always easiest to solve problems before they really even happen. And so if you're really a good proactive person, that is important for this type of role. One last thing, you need to be up for continuous learning, because the best professionals never stop learning. They stay updated, as we've talked about, on technologies, tools, and trends. They're always looking for ways to improve their skills, okay? And there's more we could go into, but those are some of the most important skills and personality traits that you're going to need to develop if you want to be successful in this field. Now, there are career opportunities. As of 2023, there were about 3.4 million administrative professionals in the United States. And even though overall employment of all type is projected to decline slightly, there are hundreds of thousands of job opening each year due to retirement and changes in businesses. In Texas specifically, there's a high demand for administrative professionals, and salaries vary a lot. It kind of depends on role, experience, and the industry that you're in. I, for one, I love education. It is not the highest paying industry I could be in, but I have a heart and a passion for it, and I like to be able to instruct as well, so that's a choice that I have made. But salary does vary a lot in the administrative assistant office professional world, depending on what industry you're serving in. Employees are especially looking for people with strong computer skills, great communication abilities, and organization and problem-solving skills. When they're sort of asked what they're looking for, those are the main things we see that they say, okay? And as we move through this course, each new skill that we learn and practice is going to connect back to this role. It's going to connect back to helping you pick up these skills. This is a career and technical course. I love teaching those types of courses because they are meant to give you something very tangible and practical that you can take from the course into the real world and really learn how to do the things that you're going to be required to do. Okay, in this first module, you're going to need to read the uploaded chapter. You do not have to buy a textbook for this course. It's all uploaded. And you need to watch the accompanying videos. I want to just tell you, these videos that are in these modules are very important, and they often show up in the quizzes. So be sure you actually watch them, okay? I'm a student. I'm an online student. I know how easy it is to go, I don't feel like watching that right now. Please watch the videos. You're going to need to complete the self-assessment and quiz 1. On all of the quizzes in this course, except for the midterm and the final, you are allowed to use the information in the module to help you with the quiz. I will just caution you to be sure you pull up 2 tabs and open the quiz in one and the module information in the other, because if you X out of the quiz, if you turn it off, it won't come back up for you. You'll have to get me to reset it for you. So let's try to avoid that by making sure, if we're going to use the module to help us with the quiz, that we pull it up in a separate tab. I want to go in and caution you the self-assessment, and there's a lot of assignments in this course that if you really wanted to, you probably could AI, but I'm going to warn you, and I'm probably going to warn you often through this course, if you do that, I'm going to get the same responses from everyone, and so I'm going to know that that's what you're doing, okay? And also, that's not going to help you. I am not, unless the nature of the assignment is that it is a professional email or such as that, I'm not going to be a super harsh grammar Nazi grader or, you spelled this wrong. That's not the goal. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear that you're learning who you are and how it might connect to this profession. I want to learn who you are and what you want from this in your own language. And I want to see that you are understanding these concepts and can express them back to me. Okay. So as you do the self-assessment and several other assignments throughout this course, please bear that in mind. I am not a harsh grader. I want this to be a journey we go on together where you pick up some really good job skills, not something where I'm waiting to just put, red marks all over your paper like back in the day. So once you've done all that, you will be done with Module 1. So that's all I have this week. Good luck with all of this, and I will see you in Module 2.